Hello again. Now I'm going to do another completing the square. This time it's slightly trickier, and it's trickier because I've got a number, number 2 in this case, in front of the x squared, and the more straightforward method for completing the square only uses a single 1x squared. When you've got something else there, you have to do some factorising first. So before I can do the factorising, I must take out that 2 common. So let's just do that. Y equals, take out the 2, then I'm left with a single x squared, and I'll be able to use the method there. But I will have to change the second term as well, because that will now have to be x over 2, so that when I multiply out that bracket, 2 times x over 2 would give you the original x that I had in the first place. And I'm only going to do that factorising on the first 2 terms. The plus 7 I will still leave on the end, and it is separate from this bracketing. Then I can use the completing the square method. That is, I've got an x squared and an x term. I look for the coefficient of the x term. I will halve it, square it, add it on, and take it away. So I've got to halve that coefficient there. Now the coefficient of that x over 2, the coefficient is minus a half, because you can think of it as being minus a half times x, but the coefficient itself is just the minus a half part. Then I have to halve it, and you halve that and you get minus a quarter. Square it. A quarter squared is a quarter times a quarter, so it's a 16th, and that's what I'm going to add on and take away. Right, back to what we had before. Let's fill in our bracket that we're completing the square on. So now we've got y equals, the 2 wasn't part of all that lot. We write down the x squared and the x term. Then we add our 16th and we take away our 16th. Close the brackets there, and remember that the 7 is still taking on the end. Now it's just a matter of doing some rearranging and sorting out to make it simpler. The first 3 terms inside our bracket here, that is from there to there, will form a perfect square if we've done this all correctly. So we can write down what that is. Y equals, the 2 is not part of it. In these brackets here I will get x something squared. The something rather in there will be the original term coefficient that we halved. It will be the minus a quarter. So we get minus a quarter. We still have minus 1/16 on the end, and that's all inside those brackets with the 7 left over at the moment. More simplifying required. What I now have to do is take that number 2 and multiply it into the first term and then into the second term inside those brackets, and from that I will get y equals 2 x minus a quarter all squared minus 2 times 1/16 and plus 7 still on the end. Continuing, the first bit's all sorted out now. That's 2x minus a quarter all squared. Now 2 times a 16th is an 1/8, so I've got here minus 1/8 plus 7 on the end, and finally for our last line here, minus 1/8 plus 7 will give me plus 6 and 7/8, and that will be that. This is the turning point form, so we could see that the turning point of this, should we be asked it, the turning point would be 1/4 and 6 7/8. And that's that. A little bit trickier when you have a number in front, because you have to do the factorising out before you can then do the completing the square method when you've got the single positive x squared.